You probably chose this for 3 times now in a row. And, you had a chance. You had a chance to reject all of his vitriol and racism and bigotry and homophobia, but you probably celebrated it.
Today, we turn to Michigan, where growing economic pressure is fueling frustration among Trump voters across the state. From factory towns to suburban communities, many say the promises they believed in are colliding with a harsh new reality. Listen closely as Michigan residents share their firsthand stories behind this unfolding voter uproar.
As somebody who's voted for Trump 3 times, I have no problem calling out the stuff I don't like that he does. Name calling that he does, I hate. I hate every second of it. When I heard him call Marjorie Taylor Greene a traitor, that's a low blow. She has not been a traitor to the point of how we assume traitors are. And then for him to say something like, oh, well, when her husband wakes up in the morning, he'll realize how terrible a person is. That stuff, that is so obnoxious. And if Trump and the Maga movement and people in the conservative movement want to get those in the middle to lean more right, the worst thing you can do is name call, especially when it's to women. Then to see that he called a reporter on the airplane piggy, enough is enough. Stop the name calling.
I'm sitting here walking around the mall here in Flint, Michigan. This is what happens when your government sells you out. All your jobs leave and go overseas. This is a mall here in Flint, Michigan. Empty. Has Goodwill down there that's open, and it has J.C. Penney's at the end. That's it. A whole mall. Here in Flint. You want to, people like me, get out here and fight for the country. I love tariffs. Bring our jobs back to our communities. Bring them back so our kids have places to go. Hello. This is Flint. Look at it. We could fill this place with all kinds of different businesses. All I'm saying is bring the jobs back.
Here's the deal. To the glee of many of his billionaire supporters in Silicon Valley, Trump signed a new executive order aimed at blocking states, like Michigan, from setting their own rules for artificial intelligence. Specifically, it calls for a new AI litigation task force inside the Justice Department, whose entire job would be to challenge state-level AI laws that the administration says conflicts with its minimally burdensome national approach. The order also tells the Justice Department to flag so-called onerous state regulations, and it opens the door to withholding federal money from states that don't fall in line. In other words, if Michigan tries to put guardrails on how AI is used, whether it's stopping deepfakes, scams, political ads, or powerful algorithms making real-world decisions, then the Trump administration could simply step in and say no.
Look at this. Look at this. The red state of Michigan is at risk of losing 800,000 agriculture jobs due to tariffs. Yes, Michigan voted red. Yes, Michigan voted for this administration. 800,000 jobs, but wait. Wheat is down 89%. Apples are down 58%.
Action means everything. So do something. We put you in this position. You shouldn't be questioning what we want. We stand up here and we tell you over and over. We email you, we call you. You're not guessing what our asks are and the help that we're asking for. But you're not doing it. And the question is why? Why? Why are we not helping these people? Why are we not helping the least of these?
Decided that something that we're doing again for this election because I believe so strongly in what we are doing, the work that needs to happen, and that we are going to have an opportunity to continue to move this in the right direction.
Hey, we were waiting outside on Bill, and I think he went out the back door. we had constituents out here in 11-degree weather waiting to ask the congressman questions, and he, again, avoided those questions. So we hope that he sees this video, and we hope that he will come answer for questions sometime in the near future. Thanks, Bill.
I'm here because the last time I spoke to Bill on camera was expressing my hope that he not vote for the big, beautiful bill, because one of the reasons that was going to affect me is that I would lose my insurance. And so I'm here today on December 15th saying on January 1st, I will not have insurance anymore. 64 years old, Bill, and I won't have insurance. And I think that's disgusting that you're not representing your constituents in Congress. All you care about is the people who will come to pay you here at the Hayward Center for the chamber event. And I would like a moment to speak with you and speak to you face to face about your choices. Thanks.
I'm out here in front of the Hayworth Hotel today because Heidegger never has come to talk to us outside his office, except for once when he talked at us. He never really let us get much of a word or two in. And this is what he said then. So I came here today to see if he still agrees with Trump. Absolutely, 100%. So I hope we can get a chance to ask him. So we're waiting out here in 11 degrees, hoping he comes out the front door, not the back door, but I'm not sure where he's going to come out of.
The thing I was going to ask Bill about is artificial intelligence. I've seen videos from Bernie Sanders and some other people talking about how the development of artificial intelligence is just running rampant. Billionaires are spending billions of dollars developing this, and there are no guardrails. And a lot of people are sounding the alarm. They're very concerned that without these guardrails, it is going to be complete chaos, and probably already is.
We have expected from Donald Trump the worst, but he is shocking us of how worse he can be. The vote for Trump was not really a vote for Trump. It's a vote against the Biden-Harris administration because they could not stop the carnage that's happening in Gaza.
College senior Sarah Shaban voted for Trump. She says she gasped when she saw his remarks.
I was disappointed, but I also wasn't surprised. But I would say that I kind of find it hard to believe that he would actually implement what he's saying.
Did you regret voting for him?
A little bit.
Days before the last presidential election, Donald Trump was the invited guest at the Great Commoner restaurant in Dearborn, Michigan. Albert Abbas says he extended that invitation. Abbas is Arab American and one of a number of Democrats who voted for Trump. Abbas says he hoped Trump would do more than President Joe Biden did to help Palestinians suffering in Gaza.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip.
But after Trump said Palestinians should leave Gaza so it can be redeveloped, Abbas says not only does he feel betrayed, he's hearing from a number of people angered over his past support of Trump.
People were really, really frustrated, and I don't think there's anyone to blame. At the end of the day, as Arab Americans or Muslims, we really didn't have much of a choice.
Dearborn, a Detroit suburb, is home to the largest Arab American population in the United States, a community which helped Trump carry the critical swing state. Faye Nimmer voted for Trump in 2024 out of frustration over the previous administration's support of Israel. Now, she is troubled by the president's proposal to move Palestinians out of Gaza.
I mean, it's very concerning and it's infuriating.
Oh, trust me when I say I have no sympathy for these people at all. That whole Arabs for Trump movement, changing their names to the Arabs for Peace after they got finessed by Trump, they're the key reason why the state got swung in Trump's favor. And with Islamophobia being on a meteoric rise, Yeah, they're definitely feeling the weight of their actions now. I mean, mind you, Trump's rhetoric towards Gaza was always atrocious. He had never once given any type of grace to Gazans, to Palestinians alike, did not give a fuck. He was always on the side with Bibi. So I need people to understand Trump was never nice to Gazans or Palestinians in any way, shape, or form. Not only did they aim their support for this, they endorsed it and they knew it was coming. So nobody should feel any sympathy for them. But Kamala was bad. All right, well, have fun. Shit.
Dearborn, Michigan. Dearborn, Michigan. A union town, a steelworker town. Well, this past election, Dearborn, Michigan voted for Trump. A lot of union guys in Dearborn, Michigan voted for Trump. Imagine the stupidity and the arrogance of a union guy or woman voting for Trump, a Republican. Republicans are known for union busting. They're known for a lot of bad things, but one of them is union busting. They fucking hate unions. They hate them. And these guys this time around thought, you know what? This white guy, pretends he's a strongman kind of dude. Let's go with him.
Across Michigan, people are speaking openly about job uncertainty, rising costs, and financial stress they say can no longer be ignored. Their voices reveal how quickly economic conditions are changing and why so many are now questioning the path forward.
Trump obviously did very well with white people in Michigan. He also did surprisingly well with black people in Michigan. What do you think that was about?
I'll say this, man. For everything that it's worth, he definitely is great at being a salesman, right? So he definitely was able to hinge on the fact that a lot of, minorities were kind of fed up with just kind of always going for the Democratic Party for years and not like receiving nothing, kind of just being like, hey, man, we need y'all for this vote. And then they kind of get shunned during the presidency. So he definitely preyed on that. He definitely preyed on the fact that, people thought Trump's going to give me money because he gave me a stimmy. Like, dumbass, like that's not happening. I mean, you even saw all the Latinos for Trump and who he decided to deport within the first 100 days. You know what I'm saying? People wearing his exact shirt, deported their ass.
How many of those people that you're talking about do you think regret the Trump vote?
Oh, man, in the months since I've talked to him, I'm an agitator now. So I'm like, hey, man, how's your boy? How your boy doing? Oh, they are sick. They are sick. They are sick. I know one woman, she lives in Florida. She voted for Trump. She's like middle-aged black woman. She voted for Trump. Texted me like 2 months ago. She goes, that was one of the worst mistakes I've ever made. Like, I know a lot of people who regret mistakes. Like, man, how could I do this? How could I do this again? But I'm like, hey, man, history repeats itself unless you're, unaware.
Farmers have one of the highest rates of suicide in Michigan, and it's more than 5 times the overall state rate. Farmer suicides have been a national crisis since at least the 1980s, with agricultural workers having one of the highest rates of suicide across all occupations. Those who grow our food are under tremendous economic stress, as well as guilt over potentially losing farms that have been in their families for generations. Michigan State University offered a free farmer suicide prevention program that paid for over 550 therapy visits and reached over 10,000 Michiganders since 2020. This program saved countless lives and farms across the state. Unfortunately, the Michigan legislature eliminated funding for this crucial program. Farmers now must pay for counseling sessions out of their own pocket, which is simply not a feasible cost for most families. Because farmers are often independent business people, they might not have health care or mental health service coverage. Farmers and ranchers feed and fuel us, and they are facing a perfect storm of financial pressure and stress that can become very dangerous. They deserve our support, and they deserve funding for this life-saving program.
Shout out to my 2 senators, Gary Peters and Alyssa Slotkin. You both voted to confirm Kristi Noem to be DHS Secretary. I was disgusted then. I'm even more disgusted today. How's the last 4.5 months been going for you? How's it been going in the state of Michigan? You happy with what's happening? Clearly you are, because you're complicit in this. You signed off on confirming her. This is what you wanted? Is this where you wanted the United States of America to be headed? It must be, because he only told you for fucking months what he was planning to do. How do you feel today watching one of your Senate colleagues literally be thrown to the ground for having the audacity to ask a question in a press conference because he's concerned about what's happening to his constituents in the state of California? You feel good about it? Is this what you wanted? Man, y'all really out there doing the work of the people. Bravo. You are complicit in this and you deserve to be held accountable.
People of Michigan, our lawmakers are trying to take away our choice and our votes. House GOP members in Lansing voted to take away ranked choice voting, despite the fact that 5 cities have already implemented it because the people in those cities voted to have it in place. They are attacking democracy by not allowing us to have ranked choice voting. And they're doing it because they're scared. They're scared that when we don't have to pick between the lesser of two evils, we won't pick them.
It's been cracking me up this morning as everybody is waking up to the corruption that exists in the state of Michigan. Like it's as a Michigander, I'm 40, I'm going to be 46 next month. So I understand, like I've lived here my entire life. So I've seen the corruption like through and through. And I think what's so great is that the entire country is now going like, hey, what the hell's going on with that state? But y'all have no idea. Everyone from like everything from like the Republican Party to the Democrat, like there's no solution. There's no solution. My husband was a delegate for the Republican Party, not because we're Republicans even, but because he was like, what the fuck is going on? So he wanted to get like an insider's take on what was happening. And it's bad in Michigan. The whole political arena in Michigan, I don't know how you solve that. Like, I don't know how you solve that. I don't know how you fix that. But yeah, waking up, the rest of the country is waking up to what we've always been seeing.
It is ridiculous that these 6 people that are going to make millions and millions of dollars off of this data center apparently matter more to the Michigan Public Service Commission than the entire township of Saline that is up in arms about this. Folks, breaking news, the Michigan Public Service Commission just granted the super secret deal that is going to allow DTE and the Silicon Valley billionaires building the data center in Saline Township to do this behind closed doors, fast-tracked, without public disclosure, likely because they are going to force residents to pay for their infrastructure. They're going to build more fossil fuels, and who knows what they're going to do with water. All of this is happening because of political corruption.
In case you missed it, yesterday, House Republicans in the Appropriations Committee, led by Speaker Matt Hall and Chair Ann Boland, defunded and cut $645 million from Michiganders. We are still sifting through the list of cuts to see what kind of damage they did. This is money that the legislature voted on, that the governor signed into law, appropriations for millions of dollars for programs from maternal health to the Holocaust Museum to $1 million for parks and recreation in my community in the city of Warren. We're getting phone calls from local elected officials across the state of Michigan, from organizations that have been relying on this money, and the Speaker, Matt Hall, has been calling them waste, fraud, and abuse. Money that is meant to help buy wigs for children who are dealing with cancer. I have 2 colleagues in the Michigan House who were in tears because they are cancer survivors. And Speaker Matt Hall, this is what he considers waste, fraud, and abuse. Absolutely devastating.
But specifically, what are your thoughts about President Trump calling Governor Walz retarded?
Well, look, that's not the word that I would choose. I think his reaction was probably a spontaneous one to the enormous amount of fraud that was announced.
I'm suing the state of Michigan. In 2022, voters made it loud and clear. We enshrined reproductive freedom into our state constitution. We said, we believe you, we trust you. But here's the catch. If you're pregnant, Michigan law says that your advance directive, the document that lays out your medical wishes if you can no longer speak for yourself, doesn't count. Just because you're pregnant, it means that the state gets to decide what happens to your body, not you, not your family, not your doctor. It's unconstitutional, and it goes against everything us Michiganders voted for.
Recently, I got this comment. Oh, I'm not talking about this racist one right here. Take a look at this one up here. Angelica said, reaching out from Jackson, Michigan, our community was impacted by the cancellation of over $5 million funding to support, prevent, and resolve homelessness. So let's see who represents Jackson. Oh, would you look at that? Kathy Smoch, staunch Republican, and Tim Walberg, U.S. Congressman and Republican, represents Jackson City. Republican And the city of Jackson is dealing with a huge homelessness problem coupled with the opioid crisis. They thought they were doing your community a favor. These are work projects from the Department of Health and Human Services. Let me direct you to page 4, which is listed as page 2 on this PDF. You can see right here, this line item, Michigan Opioid Healing and Recovery, it cut $7 million. Stay with me. In 2016, the opioid-related death rate was 30 deaths per 100,000 in Calhoun County. That was 1.72 times higher than the entire state of Michigan. I know some of you guys are going to be like, oh, well, that was from 2016. It's 2025. Oh, well, look at this. In August of 2025, Calhoun County was among the top 5 highest for overdose fatalities in the state of Michigan.
I'm a Trump supporter, and I'm going to tell you this right now. If this is the verdict, there's no Epstein client list.
Yeah, cool story, bro. Yeah, I'm from Michigan, too. I'm going to bet that you're probably from Macomb County, and I'm usually never wrong on that. But you probably chose this for 3 times now in a row. And, you had a chance. You had a chance to reject all of his vitriol and racism and bigotry and homophobia, but you probably celebrated it. It was the Epstein files. It wasn't like, people losing their health care. It wasn't the men that was sent down to El Salvador that we now know were innocent and they weren't gang members. That didn't bother you. It was just the Epstein files. So now that you're jumping off the Trump train, I'm just curious. Like, what are you planning on doing to right your wrong? Because pro tip, you could start with deconstructing your racism, because that is a thing. And I know that there's going to be some people that don't agree with me on this, but I'm not trying to get you MAGA sickos to join our pro-democracy movement of love, okay? You guys can all just stew in your hate and your filth, okay? Because we don't need you. There's more of us than there are of you, and we are actually going to win. We're going to win with love, we're going to win with joy, and we're going to win with empathy. And you know what? I don't believe a lot of you motherfuckers.
Are we dead serious right now? Are we dead ass? Is this real life?
Look at that.
This economy is so bad. $33 for toilet paper?
A regular Coke, 3 for $20.97. Actual soda, $21.
Used to get a whole cup.
Damn. 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 Damn.
For 2 pounds of lunch meat, $23. How the hell we supposed to feed our kids on this crap?
Truly, look at this. Look how small this pack is. Seriously? That fits in my palm. Crazy.
The grocery stores are it looked like it haven't even been touched.
You are going to be feeling the pain at the pump, and your eyes do not deceive you. At this mobile gas station in Dearborn, a regular gallon of gas is costing you $3.89. Overnight, prices jumped 15 cents, and folks are worried that those prices are going to continue to climb. Last month, gas was at around $2.94 a gallon. Right now, the average in Michigan is $3.75. This is the highest price for regular gas since October of 2023. And since the start of the war with Iran, gas prices have surged 74 cents a gallon. And we have been talking to drivers about their concerns as these prices continue to go up.
I run a junk removal business, so the gas prices, they pretty, they hit me twice. So they hit me when I go to unload what I pick up, and they hit me when I need to fill up. As an entrepreneur, you work hard and you pray that phone continues to ring.
And Gas Buddy says the best day to actually buy gas is on Sunday, that if you wait till midweek, that's the most expensive time to buy gas. But as you heard those drivers talking about, with prices jumping 15 cents overnight, they're concerned these prices will just continue to go up.
$4.79 a gallon, $4.89 with credit. Again, we're here again on Maga and I-75. There's the gas station there, the Exxon, but that is pretty expensive.
Look, gas prices are up.
And we know they're up, and we know that people are hurting because of it. And we're doing everything that we can to ensure that they stay lower. I will say, the president said this, and I certainly agree with it. This is a temporary blip. Okay. What happened under the Biden administration is that gas prices were high for 4 years. Gas prices are higher right now. And frankly, they're not even as high as they were during certain parts of the Biden administration because of what's going on in the Middle East. It's not going to last forever. We're going to take care of business. We're going to come back home. And when that happens, you're going to see energy prices come back down to reality. But in the meantime, we got a problem. We know that we have a problem. We're doing everything that we can to address it.
Matt Hall, the Speaker of the House, has filed a petition to the Michigan State Supreme Court. He is refusing to present the 9 bills that were passed last December to be presented to the governor. It has been 1 year now, 1 entire year, that the Speaker has deliberately withheld these bills unconstitutionally.
285 don't say it high. What 290 here diamond and 290 here diamond and 290 290 don't say it high for diamond to get 290 on and down. 290 here diamond all day. Not 2 at high. 292 at high. Got you blocked, sir. Now 5. 295 and 97 $300 on them.
You're a Michigander. Whether you're a Republican, Democrat, Independent, I'm willing to bet to some degree you are tired of DTE's shit. Whether it has to do with the data centers, whether it has to do with your bill, or the fact that Michiganders for residential power pay 13% higher than the national average.
As if the constant rate hikes, including this most recent one that will raise our rates on average about $13 a month, and the terrible service weren't enough, our monopoly utilities in Michigan also essentially buy their way out of accountability. We are shining a light on the issue with the latest addition to our scorecard, where lawmakers will now have a dollar amount to show exactly how much money they've accepted from monopoly utilities. DTE and Consumers Energy have monopolized the energy market in Michigan. This is a report from CUB, the Citizens Utility Board, saying DTE and Consumers rank 49th in the nation for average time to restore power and 38th in affordability. And they are also 2 of the largest political donors in Michigan, with DTE spending $5 million and consumers spending $4.5 million in 2022. Status quo is not working for us. Our lawmakers work for us, not for DTE and consumers, but they can't do that when these corporations are lining their pockets.
I'm not part of the Maga movement anymore. I fully just do not support Trump anymore, and just this is a wake-up call for me. We have been seeing that a lot more lately, especially now that we have entered a war with Iran. And despite these creators saying that they are putting forth the effort to deconstruct their values, they are also extremely upset that we are still holding them critical of their previous actions. And that is because change is only considered growth if that growth is actually being reflected. If it's not, then that's not growth, that's just manipulation. And we should be questioning you if you have actually deconstructed those values, or are you just going to vote for someone else that is extremely similar to Donald Trump? Are you going to continue to vote for a representative that have extremely harmful policies that harm marginalized groups and communities? Your word can only do so much. We want to see actions that actually back up those words.
So right now we have the highest energy costs in the Midwest. We used to have the lowest energy costs. People don't realize this. Back in 2000, when we had full electricity choice, we had the lowest electricity costs in the Midwest. We've gone lowest to highest. It's a huge part of our income, and not just for individuals, but for any business that wants to open. And so when businesses are looking at where they want to locate, energy is a big deal. And it's just ludicrous that the state of Michigan says, in Michigan, you either have to use Consumers Energy or DTE. That's it.
What are some of the biggest issues facing Michigan right now?
Trump.
He's a lunatic. That's how we feel here.
Has any of his policies affected your everyday life?
Yeah, it's everyone. It's affected everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. As a millennial, I've only seen maybe 5 years of economic stability in my entire life, and the slow descent towards fascism and just the general imbalance of power. I mean, I've learned more in the last few years about American government than I've ever learned. It's horrible.
Yeah, groceries, obviously. Everybody, it's up like 40%.
I mean, it's like a lot of personal relationships. Like everything he's brought to the table has like divided people between family, friends, and everything. I stay in touch with all the people in my life that I have had these political like breaks with. Some people cut them off. I don't know. Like we are more alike than we are different.
We're conventions. The tariffs and everything, it took our product from base price to almost triple.
Triple. That's difficult.
Yeah.
So I'm with an organization called Black to Land Coalition, and we do nature outdoor events for people of color. We had $300,000 from U.S. Forest Services, and we lost that from the Trump administration. I would say the inflation is part of it.
Mm-hmm. I would say, as a member of the gay community, I'm not having a good time. And my gas is $5 a gallon right now because I ran the gas up.
An estimated 41% of Michigan households are living paycheck to paycheck, and in 11 Michigan counties, including Wayne, more than half of the population lacks enough income to cover basic household expenses, according to the latest ALICE report. ALICE stands for Asset Limited, Income Constrained, Employed, so the working class that lives paycheck to paycheck. ALICE households are those that earn more than the federal poverty level, but less than the basic local cost of living. These are the Michigan cities and townships with the highest percentage of households at the ALICE threshold or below: River Rouge, Benton Harbor, Highland Park, Royal Oak Township, and Muskegon Heights. These are the cities and townships with the lowest percentage: Huntington Woods, East Grand Rapids, Ada Township, Oakland Township, and Texas Township.
We need to talk about DTE. Okay? This new processing fee, unacceptable. If you don't know, a lot of y'all do know because I've seen y'all videos. Starting in March, DTE will be charging us a processing fee to pay our bill. Okay? Whether you're using a debit card or a credit card, there will be a fee. I'm pissed. Okay? It's unacceptable. They're claiming they're using this new third-party company, and they're not receiving any of the money. This is why I'm frustrated, okay? This is why this is a problem. Because say this was any other company, any other industry, you can get this notice, you can get this email, you can get that mail, and be like, okay, I'm going to a different company then that doesn't charge me a fee. But because DTE is a regulated monopoly, we don't have a choice. We don't have no choice but to use this company. This is a 360 deal. This is worse than Suge Knight Death Row kind of contracts. We have no other company to go to. We just supposed to just accept this?
From rising grocery bills, gas prices, to rent that just won't stop climbing, families say they're being pushed to the edge more and more each day. Some are questioning everything they once believed about the economy and leadership. What changed? And why are so many speaking out now?
They're bringing this Oracle-backed data center in Saline, which is in Washtenaw County, and it's tax exempt.
Of course it is.
What the actual
right, so long story short, everybody DTE bill about to go up.
So they're trying to claim that these facilities won't increase costs for their consumers. It's
a lie.
So they're like, it's literally a lie. But they're asking the Michigan Public Service Commission to forego any public hearings because they don't want any comments. They just want their contracts okayed. They don't want formal scrutiny from outside groups like environmental or consumer advocates.
And listen, anytime a company is saying we don't want the public to comment on
rush
it,
this approval,
that's not a good sign,
no,
people.
No.
Like, and that has nothing to do with any sort of partisan politics. It has everything to do with the fact that in your communities, you have a right to speak on what's going in it. Mm-hmm. And if you don't want a massive data center in your town, you have the right to say that. I think it's really terrible that because of lobbying and the ability for DTE and others to be able to put so much money into our politics, that something like this will go forward, even though the will of the people of Saline and Washtenaw County is very clear.
They don't want it. They don't want it in their backyard.
Governments across the nation need to come together and say, none of us will approve tax exemptions for data centers. Why are we giving billion and trillion dollar corporations tax breaks? They can absolutely afford to pay taxes that our local communities desperately need.
Mm-hmm.
I feel it too damn high.
Will we fight? We want to let you know that we have leaders in the room that are holding the line to make sure that we can afford our bills.
Michigan residents endured the highest utility bill cost in the Midwest for some of the worst service delivery in the country.
This is a survival issue. This is a health issue. This is essential to protecting the properties that we do have, right? How many of us know homes that have burnt down or had a fire because the families were backed into a corner trying to get heat?
Utilities, water, and our energy costs. And DTE and Consumers Energy aren't helping with that. They constantly ask for these rate increases on the backs of our working class families, and we're just fed up. My bill, part of the package, is House Bill 5,000. And what this bill would do is put more money back in your pockets. So for the first 24 hours of any car outage, guess how much you'll get? $254. $254 in your pocket.
But DTE was allowed a monopoly because they work for the public interest. And it is not in the public interest to line the pockets of the executives and the shareholders. That's our money. So we have rights as citizens. We must have rights as forced customers.
So I'm really excited to support the Ratepayer Bill of Rights, which is a really key part of barring companies from doing business with the state to actually donate to state lawmakers. They should not be donating to us. They should be barred from actually making political contributions.
What we have is the opportunity to come together as a people and say, we do not allow these bribes to happen anymore.
We need leaders who fight for what? The people. Leaders who don't take corporate cash, who don't answer to special interests, who answer to what? Us. That's what courage looks like, y'all, when they stand up to them.
We got people who want to do the right thing, but corporate money is telling them not to. And they have too much influence over our politics. And so we are doing what we can on our side. And that's why we need your help. The voice of the people drowns out that money every time.
So I'm driving into work Tuesday morning, and I drive by my usual gas station. And that's when I see the price, $4.19 per gallon.
I didn't know it could go higher than $4. I'm not gonna lie, that's what I was thinking.
I'm your East Lansing neighborhood reporter Colin Jankowski, and I don't know about you, but that's a lot more than I was expecting to have to pay for gas right now. And that's because it is more than we've had to pay for gas lately across our neighborhoods. AAA of Michigan says that the state average for a gallon of regular unleaded gas is now up to $4, which is an increase of about 25 cents per gallon from a week ago and more than $1 from this time last month. Now that average is even higher here in East Lansing. According to AAA, it's at $4.11 per gallon. And neighbors I talked to, like Cora Holmes, who was filling up at the pump on Tuesday, say that it's had a big impact on them.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm already pretty stingy about it, but yeah, I mean, I don't even want to stop for gas. I only do it if I have to.
So how can drivers get even just a little bit of relief at the pump? Adrian Woodland with AAA of Michigan tells me that there are a few things that you can do, starting with consolidating your errands.
It's really good to kind of plan your errands out ahead of time. That way you don't do any backtracking, going back home, and then having, to go back to another area.
Woodland also tells me that drivers should consider shopping around for the best price in your area, using cash instead of your card when you fill up at the pump, and consider signing up for saving programs at your local gas stations. All of those can really have an impact on how much you're paying at the pump.
Ever wondered how utility companies keep getting away with raising prices? It's actually not as simple as people think. When a company like DTE or Consumers Energy wants to raise the rates, they file a request with the Michigan Public Service Commission. That's a panel of commissioners whose job is to review the request and decide whether to approve it based on the current laws. Those commissioners are appointed by the governor, and right now we do have a Democratic governor. But the commission itself is supposed to operate as a nonpartisan regulatory body. And here's something people often miss. The rules the commissioners have to follow don't just come from them. Those rules come from laws that were written and passed by the state legislature over many years. And utility companies are some of the largest political donors and lobbyists in the state. They donate to politicians on both sides of the aisle. So when you see rate hikes happening again and again, It's usually not about one single person or one political party. It's the result of an entire system of laws, regulators, and political influence that has developed over time. If we want things to change, we have to understand how the system actually works and where the accountability really belongs.
I'm out in Fowlerville, Michigan, near the future home of a massive data center that's set to be built on some farmland just outside of town. And well, neighbors here are pissed off, mainly because these types of facilities tend to suck down a lot of electricity and water. But that's only half the story. The other half is why so many Michigan farmers are suddenly selling off their land in the first place, and how President Donald Trump's trade war is pushing them toward more deals like this.
Most people tell me we did very well.
Here's the deal. Michigan's agricultural exports are getting hammered. Wheat shipments are down almost 90% this year. Soybean meal exports are down nearly half. Apples, cherries, also way down, especially as other countries slap retaliatory tariffs on U.S. crops as a result of Trump's trade war. State officials say foreign buyers now see the U.S. and Michigan as unreliable. And once they switch to buying their products from other countries, it can be hard to win that business back.
We were able to make phenomenal deals. If we didn't have the tariffs, we wouldn't have been able to do that.
At the same time, the dirt under our fields has never been more valuable to everyone except the people farming it. Michigan farmland values jumped nearly 8% in the last year, one of the fastest increases in the country. And that's not because corn and beans are suddenly paying better, but because developers and the big tech firms behind data centers are offering jaw-dropping prices to pave it over. A megasite in Genesee County, a proposed data center in Augusta Township, another one in Kalkaska County. Again and again, it's farmland that's getting carved up. Parcels are going for $15,000 to $30,000 an acre. And if your export markets have crashed and someone shows up with that kind of check, it's hard to say no. Sometimes it's not even a choice. And the rush isn't slowing down. In Saline Township, a $7 billion AI data center is planned on what used to be farmland. DTE cut a secretive deal to feed it 1.4 gigawatts of electricity, the equivalent of about 1 million homes. Now, DTE wants state regulators to approve that contract with limited public scrutiny. Attorney General Dana Nessel and consumer advocates are warning that this rush job could set the precedent for every other data center that wants to plug into Michigan's grid. Tech companies have already approached at least 10 communities across the state to host data centers. And if state regulators rubber stamp one giant deal on farmland, it gets a lot easier to do the next one, and the next one, and the next one.
They promised Michigan taxpayers over 2,000 jobs and a $1.6 billion investment. Now here's what actually happened. The company, Our Next Energy, got support from the state, including a $15 million taxpayer-backed loan. And so far, they've paid back just $3.3 million. That means the majority of that money is still outstanding. This deal was sold as a huge win back in the media. Leaders said it would transform Michigan's economy and bring thousands of jobs to Van Buren Township. But fast forward, the company has struggled to deliver. Reports show layoffs, scaled back operations, and job numbers nowhere near what was originally promised. And this is where it gets real. Because this isn't just about one company, it raises a bigger question. Why are all of you taxpayers giving your money going to private companies before they can actually deliver? Because when the promises fall short, it's not the company taking the loss, it's every single one of you. And the question now is simple. Will anyone be held accountable?
These stories aren't coming from headlines. They're coming from kitchen tables, job sites, and everyday conversations across Michigan. No matter where you stand, one thing is clear. People are feeling the pressure, and they want their voices heard. So what do you think? Is this a breaking point, or just the beginning of something bigger? If these stories resonated with you, take a moment to join the conversation. Leave a comment below, share this video with someone who needs to hear it, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more real stories from everyday Americans just like you.